A little uplifting. And it says we're live. I don't think it lies to us. Okay. Welcome to day 6. We are Kate and Tanner, and I got to kill the music. We're Kate and Tanner, and we are here with a dear friend of ours, Kimberly Bottger, just having a little catch-up conversation, which was great. And super excited to talk to Kim today. Kim, I know that you've had quite a journey and a story from what we've gotten to know you, from becoming a single mom as a teenager and doing sort of everything that you had to work to 2 to 3 jobs and getting into real estate in 2008. With the crash and into banking, and then ultimately climbing out of $50,000 worth of debt and earning over $1 million in commissions through network marketing now, which is a huge milestone. So we're super appreciative for your time and really glad to have you here. And just want to jump right into talking about network marketing and learning about, day one for you. Like, why did you say yes to getting into this industry in the beginning?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan of you guys, and so I consider it an honor and a pleasure to be joining you on this. So thank you very much, and hello to the audience. As far as what made me want to get involved in this, as a single parent, and if you're a single parent, you're familiar with this. Is you're constantly in this crisis mode. You're constantly you learn how to operate at a high stress level because you're keeping all the balls in the air. You're the Uber driver, you're the chef, you're the maid, you're the breadwinner, you're the disciplinary, the nurse, the nurturer, like you are all the things, right? And I reached a point where I just started to get burned out on working so hard. It wasn't that I wasn't a hard worker. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to, pay my dues to, earn something. It was, I was on this wheel and it was never ending. And it's like, well, when does it get to stop? Because I feel like I'm not getting ahead and there has to be a better way, because why am I so tired? I should have been further along at this point. I should have been further along after working 2 jobs. I should have been further along after buying this real estate, because that's what society says. And most millionaires, they become millionaires so they buy real estate. Well, why am I not a millionaire after buying real estate, And so, going through all of that, it was a humbling experience to reach a point where it was, maybe I don't know what I don't know. And there's got to be a better way. And I was very blessed to meet somebody online in a situation like this, where I saw a video and I started listening to somebody that had much, much greater success than I had in a variety of different fields, one of them being network marketing. And I had never met anybody like that. I had never met somebody that, first of all, didn't come across as weird and cheesy and using emotionalism and hype and like all the things that people hate that contribute towards the stigma of what is carried in this industry by the 98%. And so that really attracted me to, what he had to say. He had my ear because of that. The second thing is he had all this success in other arenas besides network marketing. And I had never seen anybody that had massive success in networking go and do other things, unless it was in the networking industry. Like, you watch people that have success in this sector and they'll go write a book or they'll go do like a speaking engagement, but you won't see them make millions in a plumbing company or real estate or, something else, like something completely unrelated, gemstones, stock, right? And so that to me also said, he is successful on purpose. And I want to be successful on purpose. I wasn't successful on purpose as a single mom. I was struggling to get there and figuring out a way. And I felt like every time I tried to figure it out and I was doing it solo, I would run into these brick walls. And I just reached a point where I decided I got to start following somebody that has it more together than me. And so it was his content and his vision and also his track record of success that drew me to have a conversation with him over time. It took like a year. And once I stepped into it, I realized what I could get out of it. And I realized that I don't have to be in a crisis mode. I can build my way out of that. This is a vehicle for that. I can build my way out of the debt. I can build my way out of the struggle. I can build a healthy relationship with money. Most single parents, even if you're not a single parent, it's for sure evident, maybe not evident is the right word. It is definitely an element in the livelihood of a single parent that you have a poor relationship with money, and it's because you feel like you're always running out. And you get into a scarcity mindset, and a scarcity mindset, a poverty mindset is not a healthy mindset whenever you want to attain success, whenever you want to be at a place where you no longer want to struggle. And so stepping into this, there was a lot of things that were revealed to me, and going through the process of, okay, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. I need to work on that. And that had everything to do with my capacity. And so I looked at this as, I'm going to have some growing pains, and I'm going to grow as a person, and growing as a person, from the inside out never feels good, because it's hard, because it's humbling, because it hurts your pride, because it forces you to admit that you don't have it all together. And I was one of those people that I just reached a point where I'm like, I don't have it all together, so show me the way. And and at the end of the day, like I wanted cash flow, but I wanted it on my terms. And let's face it, like the moment that you start talking about money with a lot of people, they start to judge you because they have a poor relationship with it. And I want to change that for people. Like, money is not a bad thing. Okay. It's an idea. It's a piece of paper. It's currency, right? The government determines what it's actually worth. Now that it's no longer connected to gold, it's, that's a whole other conversation for another time, but it's connected to debt instead. And people have a tendency to have a poor relationship with it. And I didn't want a poor relationship with it. If you have a poor relationship with it, it means that you're never going to have it in abundance.
Yeah.
And we got to have it, because it rates that up there with oxygen. And all I wanted was to not be in debt. All I wanted was to live life on my terms. So what does that look like? Well, what that looks like is you having a transformation in your mindset. And that's something that I had to go through. And so, there is this part of, I don't want to struggle. I'm constantly in crisis. I don't want to be in fear of what's my next move going to be to pivot in a financial situation, because I had done that so many times. And, I was the person that when I got into this industry, I was on unemployment. There was a season in my life where I donated plasma twice a week, and I would get like $48. And they wouldn't let me donate anymore, because like, it's probably not healthy for you. I'm like, can I just come in here every single day? Because that was my mindset. It was, I want to get the money, because I needed it. I had to put gas in my tank. I had to pay for things, and there had to be a better way. And I just needed somebody to believe in me. And I had never had anybody believe in me. And if they did, they never told me. And this person came along and said, I believe that you can do this. And I believe that you can be very, very successful. And for whatever reason, I believed them. And normally I like don't trust people. Single moms and single parents have trust issues, because, we're by ourselves, right? It's us against the world. It's fight or flight mode, right? And that's another mindset problem that I had to fix. And that was what it took. It took somebody believing in me. And that was, I feel, a really huge gift that I was given. And I'm in a position now where he poured into me for 3 years, and I've been given a lot, and it's because of a system and a mentor and a lot of love from somebody that was willing to give that and willing to provide belief and pour into me. That changed my whole situation. And that right there, take the money out of it, that's worth $10 million or more. I mean, that's priceless. And so I'm in a position now where I want to be able to give that to the people. I was given an amazing gift. And that is not something that you hold to yourself. That is something that you pay it forward and you give it away. And the way that we give that away is by placing people in a vehicle and teaching them how to drive it. And so, you know, that's why I love this industry. It's why I got into it. And I'm not your ace card. I should say maybe I wasn't. People might look at me differently now, but I wasn't. You go back to what I used to post about, how I used to talk, how I used to sound on a video, and I wasn't somebody you would look at and say, "Oh yeah, that girl, she's going to be super successful someday, and she's going to be on broadcast." And you know, that wasn't me. And so, you know, I want to empower people to not disqualify themselves and have a conversation with themselves and say, you know what, I'm going to give myself a chance. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to dream about my freedom, and I'm going to go after it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
The money mindset, I mean, that's one of the things that this industry has done for us tremendously, that we had to look at and say, you know, if we're going to be successful and we're going to make more money than we do now, you know, what are we going to do with it? And what do we think about people that, you know, make a lot of money? And I know for myself personally, I had a lot of negative baggage around that. And so it's good to hear, I guess, you know, from your perspective, like you had it too, and you worked through it, and there's the opportunity to get on the other side of it. Was there a moment that like anything that happened where you went from like, okay, I'm going to do this and I've got this mentor and let's see if this works out and I'm trying to figure it out. Was there a moment from sort of that beginning journey to where you decided I will do this and I will be in this industry for the rest of my life?
that's a great question. Let me answer this a little bit differently. There were plenty of times where I'm like, I'm quitting. And I'm not going to do this, right? And is this really worth it? Like and what that was rooted in was the command of change in my life and things that I needed to grow out of and mindsets that I needed to change or thicker skin that I needed to grow. And that's where people across the board, that's where they want to quit in all things in life, not just network marketing, not just in business. It's when the going gets tough, rarely do people keep going. And it's because they're not built, right? They don't have anybody to pour into them. And or they may lack a foundation. Maybe they haven't been given that yet. They haven't been offered that yet. But as far as when I knew I was going to be in this for a long time, it was when people started coming to me saying, your story is really incredible. That's given me some hope. That was a reward that I really wasn't anticipating. And I didn't realize how deep that would go for me. I'm a words of affirmation person.
Yeah.
Most women are. We like to be told we're pretty. We like to be told that we're wonderful, right? We want to be told all the things. We're emotionally driven creatures, right? Like, just feed our emotions and tell us nice things and we're going to be really good. And as a single parent, a lot of times you can lack that. You can feel a lack of that in your life just due to where you're at and how the world perceives you. And when I started receiving it became a little bit of a drug for me. Like, okay, if I keep helping people, they'll keep telling me that I inspire them. And so that's probably a little bit of an unorthodox answer, but that's the reward that I get is I know that I'm making an impact. And when you make an impact, there's no amount of money that can equate to that. And nobody can also take that away from you. And so being within that rhythm keeps me going, and it keeps feeding my vision. And knowing that I can continuously do that makes me want to stay in it. Because if you're only in it for the money, that is absolutely the wrong. If that is your sole motivation, that it's all about the money, it'll get you to certain places because we all need money, right? I needed it. I didn't want to be in crisis mode. I just said that. Like, money was a part of it for me. But when it's the only thing and you don't dig deeper, you're going to find yourself in a place that you lack fulfillment. You're very unhappy. You're very depressed. And that's why you have all these multimillionaires that they take their own life every day, right? And it's because the only thing that they are chasing is the bag, and it has to be more than that. You get rewarded for helping people in this sector. And a lot of people, when they first enter, depending on how it's introduced to them, depending on what they've been exposed to, sometimes all they see is the money. And so that becomes the only thing that they chase, and they find themselves, very unfulfilled and very unhappy. They're not seeking happiness. They're not seeking fulfillment. And when you seek happiness and you seek fulfillment and purpose and all of those things, the reward does follow. And so you have to put things in the right priority.
Yeah, that's an amazing segue into the next question, which is that, so I think it's important to be aware of the industry that you're in and both the positives and the negatives, right? And I think sometimes network marketers can get a little, too drunk on their own Kool-Aid and like, this is amazing. Why don't people get this? And so I just put MLM into Google and took a look at what came up, right? And sort of read like what hits the front page of Google when I look into this industry. And one of the things that comes up from a negative perspective is that, 90% plus of people that get into a business opportunity in network marketing don't make any money or lose money. And that's sort of, I found that through several articles of like, oh, nobody makes money. Only the people at the top make money. And so I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Is that true? And what do you think about that?
That's a great question. I love the tough ones. So when you think about it, it's the top 2% that make all the money in any industry. If you look at football, you look at like the NFL, right? Not everybody gets paid what Tom Brady gets paid.
Yep.
In fact, there's minor league football teams, and they're not making that kind of money. You look at real estate and you Google what the average income is for a real estate agent. Now, I'm in California. You can Google. There's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of real estate agents in California. And you look at the top 2% that are really pulling in the millions, because the average income that you would see somebody make in real estate, or whoever has a real estate license, there's a very, very broad range. And when you look at what it takes to be successful in any arena, it takes expansion of capacity, consistency, and pushing through turbulence when you encounter it, because you absolutely will encounter turbulence when you pursue greatness. Every single time. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. And so when you look at these numbers of, this is actually a two-part answer. When you look at these numbers of, well, most people don't make any money, is it because they signed up for 2 seconds and then they encountered a little bit of turbulence and decided, well, this just isn't for me, and they find a reason not to move forward? And really the reason is they're not willing to face the music of their own life and fix some of those things, and it's not easy to do. The other thing is you have to look at the data that's been accumulated in that alleged research, because there's so many people that come in maybe as a distributor, and they're labeled in the system as, I started a business, but really they're just consuming product. And so you have to look at that too. There's a lot of intricacies in some of these numbers that people don't know what to look for. And it's very tough to determine. And I would think almost impossible, unless you were to go straight to the fulfillment center, to identify, well, who's really making the money and who's not, because so many people come in just to consume a product. They're a customer. Yet they have this placement in the business to contribute towards this statistic that says, well, they're not making any money. Well, that's because they're just a customer. And so when you Google a lot of this stuff, out there, the other thing that I would encourage people to do is you want to see who is the producer of that article or that opinion or those statistics, and you want to drill a little bit, because 9.5 times out of 10 they're selling you something else, and that should tell you that their heart there's something in it for them. There's a hidden agenda, and wherever there is a hidden agenda, that begs to question how legitimate, is this article or is this opinion, and are there missing pieces? Right. And I would say, if you want to learn how to play football, you're not going to pursue a baseball coach, right? If you want to learn how to play hockey, you're not going to pursue a rugby coach. If you want to learn how to make money in network marketing, you pursue somebody that's done it. You go straight to the source. Google is not your source. Google is not going to build your business. And in fact, I will say this, just to give you a personal comparison. I Googled the definition of single mothers in America. And what I found, I hope I can say it like this, it pissed me off so bad. It said, well, there's 11 million single parent households. 80% of them are ran by women. I believe that part, but they have mental illness, mental issues. This is literally what it said, mental issues. They have financial hardships. They live in low income areas, and they struggle a lot. And I read that and I'm like, that doesn't define me, because I made a choice to not be that person. I'm on this mission now to really change what Google says about single moms. And it just shows you can't believe everything that Google tells you. Like, if you've ever Googled yourself, is it an accurate statement? I know I'm kind of going down a little bit of a rabbit trail here, but I really want to prove a point of, can you really trust everything that Google says? Like, why not go straight to the source? Because right now what Google says about me is completely inaccurate statistically. So if you want to rely on Google, just know it's not always that accurate.
Kim, don't you know everything on the internet is true?
I think Abraham Lincoln said that, right?
That's fun. I've seen that quote, actually.
So now let's bring it in. You have had the success, and you have a team, and we're a part of that team. Like, it's been such a really cool ride this past year to see how people are growing and developing, and the relationships that are being built. What would you say within your team and the people you're working with on a regular basis and a daily basis, what is their biggest hurdle, and how do you help them overcome it?
Themselves.
Yep.
It's themselves.
The end.
It's mindset, and I'll elaborate on that point, but I want to say this for a second. If you've known anybody that has had cancer, has received that diagnosis, or they've been through it, they will tell you, and their families will tell you, that 80-90% of beating cancer is mindset. It's whether or not you believe you can actually do it. And that rule applies to everything in life. If you don't believe that you can go have the sexy body at the gym by working out and eating clean every day, you're not going to do it. If you don't believe that you could build a successful business on an online platform with those that are willing to pour into you, you're not going to do it, regardless of the amount of success or how great the product is or how great a compensation plan is. You're not going to do it. And so a lot of where people get stuck is their own belief system about themselves. And here's the root of that. They've been told no their entire lives. From the very beginning, since they started walking, some of the first words they hear is no. No, don't hit your sister. No, you cannot have that piece of candy. No, Johnny, you can't go outside and play today. No, Susie, you're grounded. You can't go to the football game tonight. No, Carol, you can't get into that college because you didn't get the good grades. No, Bob, you can't have that job because you didn't get into that good college. You're not qualified yet. You don't have the right piece of paper. And now we're living in a day and age where we are told, no, you can't go to work. No, you can't make money. No, you can no longer work here. No, you can no longer, operate your business. No, you cannot pass go and collect $200, right? It's like a Monopoly game.
Yeah.
And the common theme there is no, 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 no. And when you have been raised from childhood with this word being a part of your routine and your vocabulary and part of the definition of defining what you're capable of, that applies to every single thing that happens in your life and what you believe you can do. I mean, Google even says, like, I'll go back to the single mom thing. Google even says single moms, like, no, that's not who you are. You have mental issues. You're going to be broken. You're going to live in a low income area. Like that, it is a choice to choose no. And that's what most people don't understand is they have the choice to say yes to themselves. They have the choice to say yes to their dreams. They have the choice to say, yes, I'm going to go out and make $1 million. I'm going to go out and pay off my mortgage. I'm going to go be successful. I'm going to go learn how to pivot. I'm going to go pursue my wildest dreams. I'm going to give my family everything that they could possibly want, need, dream, desire, including myself. People don't give themselves that kind of permission because they don't know what it means to say yes. And they've also been placed in an environment where they have to prove themselves worthy in order to get a yes. You have to get straight A's in order to get into that college. You have to get the piece of paper to get that job. You have to prove yourself worthy by going out and doing these things through work, right? Go put action behind it and prove to me that you can do all these things in order to gain my approval. And that mindset will screw you up. Instead, in this industry with people and building people from the inside out, what we say is, hey, you already have amazing gifts. Let's take what you already have, which is what society deems as just personality, characteristics, and let's develop a skill set from that. So with what you already have, you're worthy just how you are. You're good enough just how you are. Let me teach you. I'm just going to teach you how to drive this car, this vehicle that we have called network marketing. You actually don't have to go out and get the license for it. We're just going to teach you the mechanics of it. And when people start to understand the concept of saying yes to themselves, yes to their dreams, yes to everything that they want in life, that's what changes it. But that's a very difficult mindset to get out of when you've been operating for 2, 3, 4, 5 decades in an environment that tells you no, that tells you you have to prove yourself. So when we come along and we say, hey, did you know that you can do this? Let's do it. Let's go do big things. People are already conditioned to say, oh, no, I can't do that. I don't look like her. I don't sound like her. Kate and Tanner, like, they have this whole thing set up online and like, I can't do that. I don't even know where to get those microphones. They instantly disqualify themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, heck, I did that even with you when I first met Tanner. I was like, oh yeah, no, he's too young for me. And I wrote him off as if I would like, not even to like date him. And now look at that. We're married with 2 kids.
Yeah. Like never disqualify yourself to have something good come into your life. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. So the biggest thing is themselves. They get in their own way. And most of that isn't their fault. It's just how they've been conditioned. It's been the environment, right? You are always a product of your environment. And the product out there is this common theme of, no, you can't. We're not going to let you.
Yeah.
And so breaking free of that can be challenging for some.
And I think what's also beautiful with the industry and what I've seen so tremendously, I mean, even just before we got, went live today with our team, is that our team and our leaders, like you were saying, pour into each other. We love on each other. We believe in our teammates before they can believe in themselves. And then the overall, which has been extremely impactful for the two of us, is the personal development that comes and is like so promoted in network marketing, because you have to then do the work to overcome that mindset and make the shift so that you can take the steps in your life to make the change that you want, right? So
and I mean,
I
we
love the personal development.
We wouldn't be together if it wasn't for personal development and getting into this industry. I mean, both of us, a similar, not similar background, but at least a similar perspective of like, we didn't believe in that stuff, right? Like that's for people
they're screwed up, like,
yeah, people that are really screwed up that, whatever, like I'm not that messed up.
Right.
And one of the things that I've heard recently that's become like my favorite saying is, you don't have to be sick to get healthy or to be healthier.
That's
right. And so I think that really describes our journey, which was from, outward appearances. And I was a single dad, and, she was living her single
professional
life and several, uncompleted relationships or whatever. Right. We all have our past. But from all outward appearances, quote unquote, successful in career and everything that we were doing. And that's been one of the biggest gifts to us is to step into this and to really dream and to grow, because we have people around us that are doing that themselves, one, and two, helping us and believing in us along the way to do that. Right. I mean, we are massively impacted by our environment, like you said. And it just couldn't be any bigger example than being in network marketing and particularly, I think, our team of being so close and so connected and really truly having people that believe in us. And I'll just interject because I'm looking at the comments. Tammy says you make a lot of sense. so you're resonating with the viewers.
I
just read that.
That's awesome.
Great.
Thanks, Tammy. Appreciate you tuning in. If you like this, you should probably share it with your whole network. That would, deliver some good nuggets. But Kate, I want to echo what you said about the personal development. Network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. The more that you personally develop, the more money you get paid.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different concept because we're trained, just go trade your time for dollars and be a taskmaster and do the same thing every single day, be in a routine, don't grow, don't expand, don't use your creative juices, and we're going to pay you this amount of money and this is what you're worth right here.
And maybe you'll get a raise.
And maybe you'll get a raise. And in network marketing, we say, well, how far do you want to go? You get to determine how much money you make.
Right.
How far do you want to be stretched? How uncomfortable do you want to get? Because it's going to be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to try new things. We're creatures of habit. Our brains are wired to keep us alive. And the moment that you add change onto your plate, it stumbles a little bit and it gets in a fear mode. It says, wait, you should run away from that. That's unfamiliar. I have to keep you alive. Go the other direction. And that's when you see people fall off. And that's with all things in life, right?
Right.
It could be relationships. If you have baggage from past relationships and you want to run because you're scared of commitment, well, guess what? That tells you that you probably have some personal development to work on, right? So yep. I think everybody can relate to that at some point in life. So, the philosophies and concepts that, we practice, I mean, it's applicable to all areas of people's lives, but they don't see that. And the reason why they don't see it is because how this industry has been presented to them, which sounds like this: join my team, buy my product, get in now. It's ground floor. We're going to make a ton of money. Just call your friends and family. And there's no depth to it. There's no purpose behind that. It's a sale. It's transactional. And the biggest thing that people need to understand about this industry is it's so far from being transactional if you expect to be successful. It can be transactional and you're going to make some money up front, but then you're going to fall right off. And that's where we see a portion of what that statistic that you mentioned earlier of those individuals, like, well, who's making money and who's not. There's some people that have contributed to that statistic where they come in and they can bring in some big checks and maybe they bring in a little bit, but then when the heat comes on, because they have to lead, they have to develop, they have to do tough things. Now they want to just fall by wayside. And at the end of the day, I think Steve Jobs said it like this: if you want to make everybody happy, don't get into leadership, go sell ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I love that within this industry, though, like that this is the vehicle, or the pathway that we could have, right? Like if we want this, we can do it. Like we have the choice to do it. And there's so much that ultimately we can obtain, and we can have in our personal lives as well as in the professional lives. And it has just created such blessings in our lives. We've met because of this industry. We share all the time. There's just so much that has changed just because we made this one choice. So for you, what is that like biggest impact that you've seen in your life because you joined network marketing?
Oh man, I don't know if I could nail it down to one thing. Let me pick out one of the rewards that's not monetary. I've taught my child what it looks like to chase dreams through my actions. You know, so often as parents, we have conversations with our children of what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you envision? But we don't teach them how to go and chase that, how to go and capture it. We get them talking about it. Well, let's face it, there's a lot of talkers out there, not a lot of walkers. And I've taught my daughter how to walk that out, what it takes, what it looks like, that it's not always easy. You will encounter resistance when you pursue greatness, when you pursue changing your life. And it's not always going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And she is the one that has been the absolute closest to the fire, because she was the one that when I would take her to school or when I'd pick her up, like I'd be on the phone, I'd be working. And there were times when she didn't always understand it. And whenever you pursue something great in your life, let's just say it's not network marketing, there are going to be people in your life that they don't understand what you're pursuing. And the reason why they don't understand it is because it's not theirs, it's yours to pursue. Where you're going, whatever mountain you are climbing, not everybody is going to come with you. Not everybody is going to subscribe to you. Not everybody is a part of your tribe, and that's okay. That's another reason why people get, they stumble up on this industry. They start to discover that some of these emotional connections that maybe they once had are no longer there, and that hurts because they feel this purge in their life. And when it came to my daughter, she watched day in and day out consistency. If you want anything in life, you got to be consistent. She watched how I pushed through when there were days when I was tired. There were days when I didn't want to work. There were days when I was upset, and maybe that had nothing to do with business. It could just be single mom life. It could be something else. You get in fights with your friends or siblings, or somebody flakes on you for a date, or like whatever. Like life just happens, and people can disappoint you, and things can upset you, right? She watched all of that, and she's been by my side. Legally, she has to be, right? But she's been by my side this whole time, watching all of that. And she has realized, I remember having a conversation with her in the car. She said, this is probably 8 months ago. She goes, Mom, our lives are totally different. Like we can go wherever we want. If we want to hop on a plane, like we can go hop on a plane. Like we couldn't do that before. Because before I couldn't buy her the name brand item at the store that she really liked, because homegirl was on a budget and couldn't afford it. And I no longer have to tell my child no, as long as it's within reason. Now I got her dreaming to the point where she's like, Mom, I think I should get a Ferrari. I'm like, go build that business, girlfriend, go get that Ferrari. But I've given her permission to think that big. And I've never met a 16-year-old that's like, hey, I think I could go have that one day. Yeah. And maybe there's a couple of them out there. And like, isn't that looking at things as the glass is half full? Like, what if it was the opposite end of that spectrum and your child had no vision, had no dream, had no aspirations, and they disqualified themselves. They didn't believe in themselves. They, weren't confident in who they are, what they could go out and achieve. And so this whole industry and the development that has filled my cup and has molded me and has, softened some rough edges so that I could be better. I could be a better mom. I could be a better sister. I could be a better daughter, a better friend, a better cohort, a better leader, all of those things. That has now cascaded as a domino effect into her. And that is, that's priceless. I'm not only impacting lives, but I've been able to impact my daughter's vision in a positive manner, to go beyond, what society says she should do or what success looks like, and do it on her own terms.
I love it. And for so many parents, like they want that for their children, but don't necessarily know how to do that. And again, just another thing that is learned and helped to develop and grow being a part of this community. Like, to be able to show that to your children is pretty incredible. Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for being here and sharing some time with us. If anyone wants to find you and connect with you, like how can people get connected with you if they want to just reach out and say hello?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Kimberly Bottger. Last name is Bottger. I'm on LinkedIn. You can connect, follow, engage, appreciate, anybody that, wants to follow the journey, so to speak. So, this vehicle, I'll say this in closing, this vehicle has given me permission to think beyond my own limits and dream beyond my own limits. And, there's so much creativity and ideas and visions and goals and things that have now generated because I have been amongst those that have that as well. You become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you've listened to this and you find yourself in a place where maybe you don't have that circle, you don't have people that can speak into your life that have greater capacity, that, you look at your circle right now, and if you wouldn't trade places with anybody in your network, it's time for you to have some maybe people come into your life. And that was my situation. There was nobody that I wanted to trade places with really in my network. And I ended up finding and meeting new people. I'm like, well, they have what I want. And so if that's you, I invite you to reach out to Kate and Tanner. And if you want to have a conversation with all 3 of us, and, if you're in my network and you're seeing this, obviously reach out to me, but there's a lot here for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, we love you, and we thank you so much for just taking time to share your journey with us.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Are we gonna do some outro music? Or did we not?
It disappeared. There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
Cue
music.
Love it.
We're figuring it out. We're getting it down.
I'm one-man production shop here.
He's doing awesome. Doing awesome.
All right. Thanks for having me on. It was good to see you guys.
You bet. Thanks, Kim. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.